Good afternoon, Reddit. This is Chris. About a week ago, I promised to put up a tutorial on how to edit the images and sprites in your game client so that you could play with a blue wizard set or whatever custom sprites the Tomb Raiders guys put in their games. I'm here to do that today. I saw Semination had made a post yesterday about it, and I tried to make a write-up, but a video just seemed to be much easier. To hop right into it, you're going to need a couple things. You're obviously going to need the game client SWF. This is not the AGC loader, but I'll show you how to get that. The process is pretty similar. It's just a different file. You're going to need Yagda and SoThink SWF. As far as I know, these programs are pretty specific for what we're going to use them for, so you're going to actually need these two programs. However you choose to get them is completely up to you. You will also need Adobe Photoshop or some sort of decent photo editing software. Microsoft Paint will not do the job. Whatever you use needs to be able to render transparent backgrounds. From what I understand, GIMP can do that and may be free, but I'm not personally familiar with it, so I'm going to be using Photoshop in this tutorial. So obviously, as you can see, the steps look pretty simple. They are pretty simple. Some of them are just kind of time consuming. So the first thing you're going to need to do is download the client, and I'm going to show you how to do that in Chrome. If you use Firefox, there is a way to do this same process, but I'm not personally familiar with it, so you're going to have to look that up for yourself. In Chrome, the process is pretty simple. Just open up your browser, press F12, and make sure it's set on network down here. And then just point your browser to realmofthemadguy.com, and you're going to see all the stuff load up. If we scroll back up, we have the AGC loader right here, which, as I said, is not what we want. What we want is Assembly Game Client SWF. Pretty simple, just right click that, open link in new tab. You can go ahead and close the other one, and then save the page as. It'll save the SWF. Just go to your desktop. I have a Realm of the Mad God folder here. We're going to call it Realm of the Mad God -vanilla. I like to call it this just because it's an easy way to know that this is a client that hasn't been edited. It's a fresh download. So go ahead and save that, and then you can close out of Chrome at that point. The first thing we need to do, if you open up the client that you just downloaded, you won't actually be able to connect to the production servers. You're going to be connected to the testing servers, and so what we need to do is change that. I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. If you open it up in the Flash Player and click on servers as soon as it loads, so it'll connect you to the testing servers. If you want to play on testing, it's fine by all means. You can go ahead and do that. I'm not sure if it'll work when the testing servers are down. It might be worth a shot. But for our purposes, we need to edit that. So you're going to go into Yagda, and you're going to click Open, and you're going to open the SWF that you just downloaded. Give it a second to load up, and we're going to try and edit the string that tells the client where to connect. Super simple. Just go ahead and go into webmain, and then click on Strings. Up here in the search bar, all you're going to do is type in RotMG testing.appspot.com and click on search. It should bring it up. Go ahead and double click on that, close it, and you're going to double click on it so that you can edit the string. And where it's RotMG testing, you're just going to replace that with realm of the mad god.appspot.com. Go ahead and click OK. And then if you'd like, what this is going to do, whenever you load up the client, it'll still say you're on testing, but you will be connected to production. So if you'd like, you can just type in testing up here, and it'll bring up the two strings. The one with the space before the word testing is in the connecting loading screen in between the Nexus and Vault and Realms and stuff like that. This one is the one that's on the actual main on the main login screen for the game. You can edit those, say whatever you want. Super simple stuff. And you'll do that in the same way as you edited the Realm of the Mad God .appspot thing. And we're going to save the project, and it should save it as Realm of the Mad God -vanilla -new .swf, as you can see there. That's just so that you still have the original SWF unedited in case you make a mistake, which is a really good feature. Just click OK, and then we're done with Yagda for the time being. What we're going to do next is go into SoThink SWF. Well, actually, you should double check and make sure that your change was in fact effective, and you can just do that by clicking on servers, and there you go. It's loaded the production servers as opposed to the testing ones. Perfect, great, we got it working. Go ahead and close that out and go into your SoThink SWF. Here you can see I kind of already messed up on a client. I edited the wrong image, and so it didn't work out and had to restart the video. But what we have here is your edited client. You just click on that real quick. Click on the expansion box, and then you're going to go to images, and you can click on each one and see kind of what's in them. The best thing to do, honestly, is to just go ahead and click on this to do the entire folder and hit export resources. And we're going to want to do, I'm going to do try again since this is my second attempt at this. Make sure that you're not exporting it as FLA, SWF, or anything like that. We want just the default image files in whatever format that they're in. Click OK and it'll work, and then it'll ask you if you want to open the folder. You can open the folder, it's fine. Just go ahead and look around and see what images you may want to play around with. Obviously you've got the Leviathan here that you can change to be whatever you want. What we're going to play with here is we're looking at image 75 and I believe image 143. If I can scroll down to that. Yes. What we're going to attempt to do for a second time is replace the HP potion that you can see right here as well as the other pots in the game with a white bag. So anytime you have a health potion, you're also walking around with a white bag in your inventory. So we know that it's image 75 and 143. What we're going to do is open up Photoshop or whatever your image editing software is. Make sure that we're in the right folder. And you're just going to open up image 75 and image 143. Click open. And as you can see, it loaded both files. The cool thing about this is you can scroll in and see everything. Now, something to pay attention to is to make sure that whatever software you're using renders this background properly. You see how it's transparent. If this was MS Paint, all of this would be white, and whenever you uploaded this image back into the game client, all of these items would have a white background as opposed to a transparent background. Would not look good at all. So we're going to go to the image that has the white bag in it, and in Photoshop, if you scroll in enough, it'll show you the individual pixels, which is nice. And we're just going to make a box around the white bag. Control C to copy it. Go over to our image with the health potion. Now obviously this one is the Vit pot and then this one is health potion, so we're just going to Control V to copy and paste the white bag in there. And then we can delete, you can see there's one leftover pixel from the health potion. We can delete that. Oh, we have to go back to the original layer and delete that. Super simple stuff. Save the photo as the original format, which I believe was ping. Yes, and it'll image 75, image 75. Yes, we want to replace this image. Okay. Okay. Now you're done with Photoshop. You're going to go back to your SoThink SWF. Uncheck this so that you're not messing with all of these, and scroll down to image 75, which is the image that we just changed. And then you can right click and hit edit, and it will bring up this little dialog box right here. Click on the folder to make sure that you're in. Yep, see, we were in the wrong folder. You should go back to where you just saved that image, and we're looking for image 75. Once we find it, we're going to go ahead and replace this one with that one. And as you can see, the health potion is now a white bag. So when we save this, and yes, we want to overwrite the SWF. When we save this, hopefully it will have worked this time, and when I log in, it will have a white bag as opposed to a health potion. Servers EUS2, just make sure we're still in production. Wizard, and you can already see that it is changed to be a white bag, and that's awesome. All this stuff is XML data you can edit, that. I will leave that up to you guys to figure out on your own. It can produce some really weird effects and may in fact kick you off the game. So always make sure you have a backup of your SWF before you edit it, which is what's nice about Yagda, is it automatically renames your file so that you always have a backup of your last step. But there you go. You have a white bag that you can drink. Alright guys, hope that was useful for you. Enjoy. Have a good day.
Welcome to Camtasia Studio 7. If you're new to Camtasia Studio and you want to get started quickly, you're in the right place. We encourage you to watch this 5-minute video to learn the basics of using the editor, including how to navigate the timeline, make some basic edits, and add special effects. The preview window is where you see the video during playback. The playback controls are located under the preview window. In fact, the video you're watching in the preview window is a sample project playing directly from the timeline you see below. After you watch this video, we hope you take some time to practice what you've learned using the content on the timeline. So let's start with the timeline. This is where you assemble and edit your videos. At the top of the timeline, tick marks represent time in terms of minutes and seconds. When building a video, you'll work in a horizontal manner, beginning from the left and moving sequentially through time towards the right. To make precise cuts and selection, use the zoom slider to magnify the view of the timeline. And when adding elements to your video, such as a call-out or audio clips, these are placed on different tracks. Tracks are created automatically, when you need them, when elements are added to the timeline. So depending on your video, you may be working with several tracks at one time. To change the position of an element on the timeline, just drag it. To change the length of an element, drag the edges in either direction. An important part of the timeline is the playhead. The playhead moves the timeline and indicates the current frame displayed in the preview window. To view your video, click play in the preview window. Notice how the video and the timeline's playhead stay in sync? Click anywhere on the timeline and the playhead moves to that point. The green section of the playhead is called the in point. Click and drag the in point to make the beginning of a selection. The red section of the playhead is called the out point. Just click and drag the out point to make the end of a selection. To bring the sections of the playhead back together, double-click the gray playhead. To split a video clip, position the playhead at the desired location and click the split button. And if you want to remove a portion of your video, make a selection with the in and out points, then click the cut button. If you make a mistake while editing, click the undo button. Next, we'll look at the clip bin and the library. The clip bin holds recordings, audio files, images, and title slides being used in the project you're currently working on. Then there's the library. It stores video clips, intros, callouts, title slides, and other elements that you want to use from project to project. The library is also pre-populated with professional animations, music, sound effects, and other content you can use in your video for free. To add your own clips or video sequences to the library, make a selection on the timeline, right-click, and choose Add to Library. To include clips and other elements in your video, drag them from the clip bin or library and drop them onto the timeline. The tabs located above the timeline are task pages used for adding and editing special effects. You can add callouts to emphasize a key point. You can insert a transition between clips for a professional look. Apply zoom and pan effects to focus on important details. And draw attention to the cursor by changing the color, size, and more. If you double-click an element on a track, the playhead moves to the beginning of that element, and its task page opens, allowing you to make edits to that element. So we've shown you a few ways you can navigate and edit your video, but how do you get content into your video? Well, to make a new screen recording, click the Record Screen button. If you already have an audio or video recording to use, click the Import Media button. When you've made edits and added effects to your video and you're ready to share it, you need to produce the project to create a shareable video. Click the Produce and Share button, step through the wizard, and Camtasia Studio creates a viewer-friendly, shareable MP4 file ready to upload to screencast.com, your blog, or a website. Well, it's time for you to try Camtasia Studio out for yourself using the content on the timeline. The help file in Camtasia Studio will help you use each of the Camtasia Studio features and applications. The Learning Center on TechSmith.com has in-depth video tutorials and other sample projects to download and practice with. So we hope you enjoy Camtasia Studio. And happy screencasting!